Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
It's Thursday, May the 19th, and we're going to be continuing along with our discussion about Nancy and Sam's project in Pennsylvania. And we've got a few projects to look at today.
We've got actually a really good range of projects, and I think a really good start with everybody. We had a lot of conversation. When I last checked, we had 25 comments on the site, and a whole bunch of different options and some interesting things to talk about.
So this is their house. It's a great modern, early modern house. This was their plan. This is the living room. Unfortunately, the kitchen, which is what we're looking at, doesn't
Had a few
live up
issues,
to the rest of the house. This is the original plan.
Yes.
We've got a utility room, the kitchen, dining area, and then the living room and the front door there.
Yep.
And this was the first scheme that was submitted from SN. It's nice to have SN back from his trip to North America. And his scheme was this.
He had a very modest approach, and I think he did a couple things that were interesting. He really made note of that gap between the wall and the windows. The architect had this big wall of windows to get the view to the outside and have ventilation, and that was preserved in the scheme, so that wall remained as it is. He basically just changed the appliance triangle. He moved the fridge outside, so his appliance triangle was this way, so that he didn't have the collision of the fridge on the far side with the cooktop, and I think it works pretty good. Now, his second scheme was interesting because he took advantage of that long counter idea all the way across. I thought this was actually quite ingenious.
Yeah, I agree. When I first looked at the scheme, I thought that this was the logical thing to try to do, to get rid of that utility room, to reinforce this as one whole space, given the way in which the windows work. I really like that.
The challenge with this one is the location of the fridge with the cooktop. I think it's quite tight there, and you need a bit more workspace. So he, of course, did a third scheme, and Brad W. told him to slow down, but actually I don't think you should slow down. I think you should try to do as many schemes as you can. The thing that's nice about this is I think the powder room here is in a more private location, and I do like the pantry location. I think that's pantry laundry. I think that makes sense from a service point of view. And then I think that the appliance triangle here is a little better. I'd probably scooch the sink down just a little bit more.
That's an architectural term, right?
Scooch.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
scooch
Good.
is a
Just
common
for
term.
all of the non-architects there, scooch.
Scooch is 18 inches in architect speak. Yep.
How much is that in metric? The one concern I have about looking at all of these schemes that take over the utility room is that back door. And what does that, what's that? And that's only something that Nancy and Sam can really talk about, whether that's appropriate. Now we've got another scheme. This is Teresa.
This is Teresa, and she reversed the peninsula on the island. She actually made it attached to the former pantry wall instead of coming out on this side. Interesting. I think what this does is it sets up a circulation route, which is a little bit snake-like, and I think you have to be aware of that because you are going to be traveling through that a lot. And is that going to be an annoyance to you in plan, moving through the dining room?
Right, and again, it depends how much is that door used.
Yep.
Because maybe you don't ever go through that, and then if you do, you are traversing through
the appliance triangle. Yeah.
And then the last scheme that we have is Oscar's.
Yep.
And Oscar is a kind of variation of both Teresa and SN's.
Yeah, and the thing that I really like about Oscar's is, again, he went very modest. He didn't do that much. He really tried to maximize the efficiency of the existing kitchen. So he really focused on the distances between the appliances, how the cook would work, maximizing the storage, spacing everything out. You'll notice he centered the dishwasher, moved the sink to the peninsula. It's very well thought through, given the fact that he wanted to remain in that space of the existing kitchen.
That's right. Okay, well, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to have a special treat for you to end off the week that is kind of a side parallel to this house. And then on the beginning of the week, we're going to show you our version.
And I'd like to remind everybody that if you're interested in learning more about the fundamentals of slow home design, you can pick up a copy of John and my book called What's Wrong with This House, and it's available for sale on Amazon as well as our website.
See you.